Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This next episode of Beauty and the Beast brought to you by ball-gags.com. Go to their webpage, read the info, order a shirt, go to the box, put B&B 20 and get 20% off any order. They got long sleeve, short sleeve. They got some tremendous shirts. I got one myself.
You know, as you get older, you fucking have fights with people and you get pissed off at people and you don't have to be around people. But the thing is, you know, you can enjoy the time you did have and realize what good they bring. But, you know, it is what it is.
Man, I've been reading this badass book called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius from 127 AD. He was a Roman emperor. And he wrote this text on how to be a Roman emperor. But it's so fucking crazy because it's like he wrote it yesterday. The way it just completely applies to modern life. And he talks about this, you know, he talks about what he says is really interesting. He's like, if you see somebody acting in a way that you don't want them to act, don't tell them not to act that way. Because would you want someone to try to control you and tell you how not to be? The better thing is to notice the way that someone's acting that you don't like and then don't do that yourself. That's what you use. You use people who are behaving in shitty ways, and instead of like doing like getting into conflict with them to try to fix them, you just look at that and you think, okay, what aspects of that are inside of me? And because a lot of times you'll find that the shit that pisses you off in other people is the stuff that you have inside you. And then you eliminate that shit, and then you just start working on it in yourself. And if you really pry it out of yourself, then all of a sudden, the things that people were doing that were bothering you, you don't even notice it anymore because it's not in you. It's just gone. You don't even see it because you fixed it in you. That's the thing. I mean, generally, there's very little that you need to do to repair someone else. You don't need to repair other people. You got to work on yourself all the time first. 99% of the time. Unless someone's like aggressively attacking you or stealing from you or doing something, you don't really need to do much, you know, except like, as our Lord Jesus Christ said, if you know, take the log out of your eye before you try to get the stick out of your neighbor's eye. You know, do that. It's
funny how sometimes, you know, when I get pissed off at people and they say to me, "Hey, I'm thinking of getting into comedy. I'm working on my material. Any advice? Get on fucking stage." Like you're like, because I went through it. I sat at home for a year, fucking myself trying to get on stage. You know, going, I'm a comic, but I was never on stage. You got to get on fucking stage. Yes. It's kind of the same thing.
Same thing, man.
Little things like that. You're right. Yeah.
I call it bald spot awareness. Like, I have this bald spot forming at the top of my head here. and now I notice bald spots in every guy. So when I see a guy, the first thing that pops out to me is how their bald spot is, whether they have one, how big it is, you know, and it's just because I'm worried about mine. So in the same way, like other personality traits you see in people, and you're like, man, that guy's a fucking dick. And then in the dark of the night, when you sit and think about what was bothering you about them, and you really look deeply into yourself, you realize, oh man, I'm so guilty of that shit. Like, I'm 100% guilty of the thing I was accusing that person of. In some way, at some point, you'll find that that's in you. And then you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I was just reflecting that onto them instead of dealing with it myself. And then this is really cool because there's this idea of the guru. We find the guru who like reflects the best part of ourselves, and then that makes you grow. But then when you realize assholes, they're gurus too, only they reflect the worst part of yourself. And then that helps you grow in that way because you see, then everything starts teaching you instead of just nice people. All of a sudden you realize that your enemies are actually your greatest teachers, and you should be grateful for them. That's why you need to have good enemies. You know, you want your enemies to be powerful. Top notch. Yeah.
Top notch.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I like thinking about it like that because I yesterday went and visited Jewel. And
a friend of, not Jewel, the one with the teeth. Because today on the first page of Yahoo, they said that Jewel got her teeth fixed, so I don't want people to confuse
Well,
Oh, wait, are we talking about
17
Jewel the
years
singer?
too late.
Jewel the singer got her teeth fixed. Like that was the front page of Yahoo today. I looked at him like, this is her teeth. I thought somebody kicked the fucking teeth out. You know, I like Jewel. I go to fucking thing, and then she got her 2 fangs teeth. Really? That's public fucking business? That's #1 on trending on Yahoo? I thought the bitch died or something like that. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to let people know. When you said Jewel, I thought you went to the dentist with her. So I was
my friend Jewel.
Jewel Shepard, who was on the podcast
She was on the
with us.
podcast, and she has breast cancer, and it's not going well, and she's talked openly about it, so I don't feel like But you know, we have a difficult, because I've known her since I'm literally 19 years old and was a stripper. That's how we met, and so like we always get in these huge fights because she gets very manic and kind of insane, and gets like, you know, kind of stocky, and I can't do that, you know. And so we get, every 3 years we get in a huge fight. And this last time we got in a huge fight, and I felt so bad because, you know, she's not doing great, and like, you know, but I think you can give yourself permission sometimes to also step away from a person like that. You don't have to confront them like you're, you know, like you're advising against, but also learn from it, but allow yourself to move away from that person.
Yeah, this Marcus Aurelius, he talks about it. He calls it a friendly distance. He says establish a friendly distance, and he uses the term friendly. It's really cool, like not like a cold, because you can, by not acting, you're still acting. By not doing something, you're still doing something. So there's this sense of intention where you're really thinking, I'm not out to get you at all. I'm just gonna move back a little bit and let you go through whatever the thing is you need to go through, because clearly I'm not helping that. I'm not doing anything more than tangling you up more. So let me step back, knowing that you're going to get to the other side of that. In the same way I got to the other side of every shitty episode I've had in my life. You know, if you think about the shitty episodes you've gotten into your life where you're being a real just cunt, where your brain is just a cunt, just a pulsating cunt. And it goes on for months.
Like how I was this morning with my children.
It happens,
It's
man.
weird. I'm going through something right now where I have a mutual friend with some friends of ours. And she's got a kid. You know, she got 2 kids and a husband. And one day she woke up and she decided she didn't want to be with the husband no more. And you know, she wants the kids. But there's more to the story. She's been in like 3 rehabs in the last year. And she was driving drunk in the daytime and picking the fucking kids up. And the husband called a friend of mine. And so, you know, I'm the type of person, if you were ever there for me in any situation, I'd like to be there for you at any fucking level that I can, and I'll tell you yes or no, you know. So it starts with a phone call. I keep in touch with her once a week, check in with her, always drunk, you know. When I call in the afternoon, I can hear it on the voice, you know. And her best friend called me the other day and she goes, you know what, man, I had to stop talking to her because but I feel really guilty. What do you think? You know, that's a situation that arises a lot. I mean, they're like you and Jewel. They've been together since fucking grammar school.
Right.
How can you turn your back on somebody? But she goes, we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
We're not getting anywhere. That's the one I said she picked her up at the airport drunk when the medic was outside with her. And she goes, I'm allergic to peanuts. She goes, you're allergic to fucking vodka. Look at you. She was swollen and shit. And after a while, like, I mean, and you feel guilty because you want to be there for your friend. But you know, when you were at that point and somebody would come up to you, it wasn't going to do nothing for you either.
Yeah.
Their friendship wasn't even friendship. It was about paper. The only reason you were nice to them is because every once in a while you can go, hey, Duncan, let me $50 till Thursday or something like that. You're going through your own dilemmas. So I understood. You know, that's a part that a lot of people have. Listen, there's people that you meet on the fucking set. That if you tell them to go fuck themselves, it doesn't change your life a bit. You just met them.
Yeah.
But you know the different levels in your friendship with people. And even if you meet somebody for the first time and you hit it off, you know different levels you got. And you know what people you have an argument with or misunderstanding? That's just a misunderstanding. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it fucking is. You still love that person. There's some people that you do have to cut loose.
Sure.
From time. That's not a friendly distance. I think Marcus Aurelius called it fucking stabbing you.
He was a fucking Roman emperor.
He was a Roman emperor.
He crucified people from time to time.
Yeah, he would cut your fucking nuts off.
All right, let's all get the perspective going.
This is crazy, you know. Those guys laid the law on you. They mentioned it to you one time.
Yeah.
They mentioned it to you, and then after that, they took action.
That's right.
There wasn't much fucking...
yes.
You know...
but these are I think these are very rare circumstances where you have to hunt someone down and crucify them. I think generally you can just step back and let time take care of everything, because it always does.
It always does.
Yeah.
It always fucking does.
Yeah.
Time takes, you can either do time or live fucking time. And time does really, you see it. You ever see somebody, like now, I'm fucking 50, and I see people like that are drug dealers. Let's just say a drug dealer. 10 years ago, I'd see a drug dealer, and he had the car and the blonde next to him with the big tits. I could tell his future in 8 minutes.
Right.
I could just tell. I could see it. And then you see them rocking, but then you see the, what's that called?
The downward spiral.
And you see it, and you're like, I'm watching this happen right in front of my eyes. That he doesn't have the BMW 7 no more. He's got a Toyota now, and he's still selling. You follow me? You see it, and there's people like that. That's not. It's weird. I mean, it's just you see it.
And there's not some. It's like I look at it like we're all kind of we are. We're all trapped in a river of time, and we're moving into the future like we're on boats. And the way your behavior is. Your character is the rudder on your boat. And so you'll cluster on this river with people, and these are your friends and your family. And some of these people, you'll notice their rudder's fucked up. And you can see that they're kind of going in circles in this river. They keep going into the rough part of the river where the rapids are. And you can say to them, hey, listen, my rudder was fucked up. Here's how I figured out how to fix it. I've gotten it kind of fixed. I still get fucked up a little bit. Why don't you try it? And your friends and smart people listen to you, and they'll be like, all right, thanks for the advice. And they'll take your advice, and you'll see them change and grow. But then some people, they get mad that you're talking about their fucking rudder, or they'll act like they're going to fix it, and then you realize they're still doing the same shit. And then you realize, oh, you just want to be in the rapids. You just want to be in the turbulence. You want to be stuck right now for some reason, and I can't help you. But if I keep hanging out with you, I'm going to have to keep going through the rapids you're going through all the fucking time. And I don't feel like doing that because I'm on a pleasure cruise here. I don't feel like being in your goddamn fucked up
hurricane.
And
your fucking hurricane that you bring every time you show up into this goddamn area.
Exactly. So if you want to when you're done playing over on that side of the river with the crocodiles and the asps and the fucking rapids and the trees and whatever the fuck is over there, and you want to come back to this side, great, I'll be here, and I can't wait to hang out with you. But I'm not going over on that side anymore. I've already tried doing it a couple of times.
It didn't work for me.
Didn't work.
Doesn't work for me.
But you got to make that first attempt. You got to make that first heroic attempt to get them out of there. And if they're not listening, well, what can you do?
Yeah.
They want to suffer. Some people want to suffer, man. And that's like I have a very, 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 very close acquaintance who has cancer, and is like a very manipulative, powerful person. And but just because someone has cancer doesn't mean suddenly like all their personality problems are fixed. And so when you realize that, like, yeah, you're dying, but you're still manipulating me. There's something underneath it all where you're still trying to like hurt me. It's just because they have cancer doesn't mean that you have to drown with them.
Right. And yeah, I mean, yesterday was very interesting because there is a beauty to when you have someone at a safe distance, but you're still kind to them. They're still trying to learn. You see, they're still trying to do their thing, but there is a beauty into understanding where we both stand, but we're respectful to each other, and you know what I mean. I'll be here for you, but you have to be smooth. I mean, there's a beauty to that. I was saying to my little boy, you know, as you get older, he's like, aren't you afraid to die? You know, like because little kids are so afraid of death, you know, in a sense, and it's like no, because as you get older, there's a beauty to it. You know what I mean? A beauty to. I hope this doesn't sound stupid, but a beauty to it because you recognize how special everything is and how fortunate, you know.
Yeah.
Most of us are. You know?
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't sound stupid, and I know
that
people go through shit,
at all.
you know.
Why does
and I
that
know
sound
my
stupid?
friend. I just feel bad. I do feel bad because I know my friend Jewel is going through a tremendous amount of things, you know.
Yeah, but it's kind of like some people like the disease comes no matter what. There's like, you know, old age, disease, and death are the three things that all of us are going to have to deal with, no matter what. Every single person on this planet has to face old age, disease, and death. There's no way around it. There's no way. That's definitely going to happen. So sometimes people will, as they, there's an interesting thing. I used to volunteer at this hospice, and they said people die like they live. You've heard that term before? People die like they live. So when people are dying, their behavior patterns that were kind of stretched out over the course of their life suddenly get compressed into the death experience. And so so what that means is some people who are very solitary, people who like to be by themselves a lot. This guy was telling us that, like, there's this guy lingering. He had cancer, and he wasn't dying, but he was terminally ill, and he was going to die. And so it was going on and on and on. And he was talking to the family about, I think it was this woman's father, and she was saying, yeah, he's a very private guy. And he says, okay, well, here's what I want you to do. I want, because he was in a coma, and he'd been in a coma for a while. He's like, you and your family go to a movie tonight. Just go to a movie. Leave the house. Go to a movie tonight, and leave him alone for a little while. And so they went, and then when they came back, he was dead. And he just didn't want to die around anybody. He felt like he wanted to do it in private, so he was kind of holding off doing that. And the moment that the house was empty, he was like, finally, and died. So people have these behavior patterns that get sort of condensed and magnified when they get to that point where their physical bodies start breaking down. And if someone was an asshole, then that gets amplified in the drama of death, because death is this just dramatic thing. But if someone was a really cool person, that gets amplified too. But regardless, there's not much you can do. You have to look after yourself first.
Yeah.
Because we're always wanting to look after other people. Everyone's always wanting to, empathize and help other people. But the being closest to you is you. That's the first thing. It doesn't mean be selfish, but it's like you got to look out for yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people who are dying can suck you into that. They can pull you into
people who are living can pull you into that.
Yeah.
You try to be caring. You really, really do in your life. You know that the more love you give out, the more you get in at a certain age, you finally put that together.
Yeah.
But it's so weird that you just can't.
Yeah.
Because next thing you know, you're driving on the 405. You're not even mad about the fucking traffic. You're mad because that person didn't do something or did something or isn't taking care of themselves. And you're like, what the fuck does that have to do with the price of eggs?
Yeah.
I'm on the fucking 405 bumper to bumper here,
Yeah.
So it really thins out afterward in the back of your mind. When I was a kid, before I go home every night, I would take my car and drive by all my buddies' houses. I still do it. I drive by here every night, Felicia.
Oh, you do? Really?
Just something
really,
I picked
Joey?
up as a fucking kid.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I get off at Laurel. I come through here. Sometimes I call you. Sometimes I check you. Your windows are drawn and shit. You're my buddy. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do. It's interesting. You're never high enough or not high enough when Duncan's around. While Duncan's talking, you say to yourself, I don't know if I'm too high or I should get more fucking high, because I should not get high, because you learn something. And he really jolts your fucking mind, Duncan Trussell. I did his podcast a couple weeks ago. He didn't say much. There ain't nothing to say. I'm around a fucking genius. What the fuck you want me to say? But
that's way too kind.
Sometimes even when we were in New York, I would look at you sometimes and go, I'm not high enough.
Well, the feeling's mutual,
I'm
my
not high
friend.
enough
The
for this.
feeling's mutual.
Or, oh my God, this is brilliant. What's going on? He's just talking about a simple subject here. But it's amazing. I got an email this morning on the Beauty and the Beast email thing, and they were talking about, does prison rehabilitate you? Listen, guys, I went in there and came out, and I was in there overnight a couple times. It didn't do dick.
Right.
It didn't deter me at all. You know what deterred me? When I realized that picking up that piece of paper on the middle of the street would make me a better comedian somewhere along the line.
Right.
I stay home.
That's a cool way to put it. Picking up that piece of paper.
That little piece of paper.
That's fucking cool.
That little piece of paper.
Yeah.
Opening up that door for the woman at Gelson's.
Yes.
That's the step to being a better comedian or a better person.
People don't realize that. It's one of the strangest things, isn't it?
They do not realize that it starts with the little things.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to be a movie star. I want to do this and this and this. Well, to be a fucking movie star, you got to have your hearing. You got to have all this shit going on. Go do something. People don't want to do that.
They don't want to start small.
I see it every day. You ever drive in Hollywood and you're stuck on a street and at the end you realize it's a couple making out and they just held up 6 cars and didn't care.
Right.
Those people are never going to go anywhere. They'll die in a Fury fucking plane crash.
Yeah.
I'm not wishing something bad on them, but later on in life, they didn't see the little things. Let me pull over. I'll swap spit and finger banger, and nobody will see. No, I'm going to swap spit with her, and then when she gets out, I'm going to talk to her for another fucking 4 minutes. Yeah. And I got 8 people behind me.
Yeah.
Those are the little things that people don't realize sometimes.
That's right. And you know what, man? That's a very hopeful thing that you're saying, because a lot of people, they find themselves in a nest of shit that they've created, and the pattern goes, first when you're in the nest of shit, when you're asleep, you blame everything else. You blame your parents. You blame the fucking president. You blame chemtrails. You blame whatever the fuck it is. You know, you blame a million other things. That's the first step. But then when you really start analyzing what's happening, the real intense, real thing that you find out is that you're the conspiracy. You're the one who got you in that place. If there's a mess in your apartment, it's because you left your socks laying around. No one came and put your socks there except you. And it's what you're saying is very hopeful, because a lot of people get in such a deep crater, a deep smoldering crater, that they think that it's hopeless. But they don't realize that if you just forget about the big shit you can't take care of, but start real small. If you see like you said, if you see a piece of paper on the street, pick it up and throw it away as an experiment. And that may be the first unselfish thing you've done in the last 20 years, and it's going to be a big feeling for you. If you've been being selfish and self-absorbed and caught up in your own dumb life, one little thing like that can be like taking a hit of acid.
You know why it's so important? Because there's nobody there to pick up that piece of paper with you, which is you and that piece of paper.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you went to the AIDS thing and brushed some guy's fucking hair. I don't want to hear about that. You ain't no good guy.
Yeah.
You did that so your friends could see it.
Yes.
You could tell your friends on a social thing.
Yes.
Start picking up that paper.
Pick up the fucking paper.
Start with that piece of paper on the street. Just that little, you're by yourself. Character is what happens when nobody else is around.
Damn right, man.
Nobody else is around. You know what I'm
it.
saying? When you jerk off, you can either wipe your hand on the fucking thing, or you can get up and wipe on a tissue paper and disinfect. That's character.
and that's hilarious.
That's fucking character. And you can jerk off here. Well, Felicia's in her bedroom. Let me whack off here on the couch and wipe it on her couch. Oh, I can whack off real good and wipe it and disinfect it so when Felicia sits down, she won't get pregnant by proxy. You know? You know what I'm saying, Mama?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, but that's okay if you're going to comb a dude with AIDS hairs and people see it. You're still servicing that person.
I understand, but doesn't it burn you up when somebody puts something out there? Like, my fucking number one thing as a comic is to watch. I love watching. You ever go to a coffee shop and just watch women or people come in, or farmer's market? Go to a farmer's market and just sit there stoned, get a cookie and sit there for an hour.
Yes.
People will tell you what they're doing and how there's a little blind kid, they play the drums at the church.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want to know. But meanwhile, you're cheating on your fucking wife with that fucking little Chinese AD you got.
Sure.
You're dreaming about her pussy.
Yeah.
That's why people get it wrong. You know, everybody wants their name on the fucking plaque when they come in. I gave $500,000 to the school.
Yeah, man, that's you know what's always confused me about that shit is not just the people who get their names on the opera program for having donated to the opera house, but when it says anonymous donated $100,000. Why would they even say anonymous? That's what's weird to me. Why do they even put anyone there at all? It's a very strange thing, that desire for other people's approval. But I'll tell you this, man, when I used to go to Agape, did you ever go to Agape? Mm-hmm. It's this awesome, it's kind of cheesy, but it's an awesome church out in on the west side. Really fucking cool. A lot of cheesy things about it, but I learned a lot from it. And their book that they based everything on was this book called The Science of Mind by this guy named Ernest Holmes. And so basically his idea is that there's metaphysical principles in the universe, which is that if you start putting out positive energy will come back. Every time you do a positive act, it's like throwing out a fishing line. And eventually you're going to catch a fish that's going to come back to you. You don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to come back to you in some way. The normal model of doing things is a transactional model where you go and you say, okay, I'm giving you $5. Now give me a pack of cigarettes. And you've created this, you immediately get something back. The next level of that is you put shit out in the universe not knowing what you're going to get back, but knowing something will come back. Something will come back. And that's when the crazy gifts start coming in. That's when the good fortune and the weird luck and calls come in, and all of a sudden a job you didn't expect comes from nowhere because you were throwing stuff out not knowing what would come back. Now, some people think that if you do selfless activity with a selfish intention, in other words, if you do selfless activity thinking, I'm doing this because I want cool shit to come from the nothingness, then it won't work. Ernest Holmes says, no, it still fucking works. The sun shines on good and evil people. It's all the same thing. If you're jumping off a cliff because you want to kill yourself, or if you're jumping off a cliff because you've got a grenade that you grab that you're jumping off to keep from exploding other people, you're still going to fall down that fucking cliff. The cliff doesn't care why you're jumping off the cliff. Gravity doesn't care why you're doing the thing. In the same way, these metaphysical principles, they don't fucking care. There's nothing about like, what I'm saying is you can be a selfish, selfless person. A lot of selfish people, the first thing they start thinking when they want to go out and go comb an AIDS-ridden man's hair, and by the way, people with AIDS in the city, their hair is fucked up. They desperately need combing. Please go out there and comb their hair. Please go out there and comb their tufted hair because they need it so bad. But people, before they go and do the selfless acts, they think to themselves, no, I'm just doing that for me. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to keep doing shit for myself. No, do selfless acts to get rich. Be empathetic and kind because you want to get success. You can do that with that in your mind and you'll still reap the benefits. It still works. It doesn't matter why you're fucking doing it. Just do it. That's the thing. It's important to realize that. I always hear people say, there's no way you could really do charity because you're just doing it selfishly. It's like, yeah, no shit. No shit, but it still works. If I plug my fucking computer in because I want to jerk off to Japanese foot porn, or if I plug that in because I want to fucking type a letter to my grandma, I still get electricity. You know, it doesn't matter the intention behind it.
It's funny because I've lived on both spectrums, and I knew when my life was fucked up, I was still kind, you know, because I knew the basic character of the street. I knew that when you score, you take care of your people around you. And so one day when you go into a bar, Duncan will come up to you and say, here's 100. I fucking ran into a truck the other day, and the guy you know what I'm saying? It really happens. But the good things, I was doing good things when I was on the other spectrum. It was the bad things that were fucking me up. So I see what you're saying. Like, I was still getting good successes.
No matter what.
Yeah, but it wasn't as gratifying.
That's for sure.
It wasn't as gratifying. I look at people who...
Well, that's two different arguments, you know, right?
Right, yeah. That's two different... No, you're right. Why you got to start arguing for, Felicia?
I don't know.
You've seen people, and I've seen people that have everything that a person could want. And you look at them, and you know people, Felicia, and when you leave there, you're like, the house is beautiful, but that motherfucker ain't happy.
Yes.
You've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen it.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
We've all seen it, especially in this town. This
Yeah.
isn't, I always think of that expression, it's better to want than to have sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's amazing.
Shit.
That's why I just live my life sometimes. And if you do good things, and if you read a book, and if you pet the cat, eventually, I just wanted peace in my life. Did you ever just want peace?
Yeah.
I didn't have any peace growing up. Then after my mother died, I had another fucking 10, 15 years of no peace. I just wanted peace. Peace for me was not being a millionaire. Peace for me was going to the ATM and taking 20 out and going to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's peace for me.
Sure.
I didn't even have that for years.
Yeah.
I'd get up with $2 and have to figure out how I was going to make 80 for the night to snort and 60 for lunch with Felicia and go out and just whatever fucking happened. So it's a different...
You know that Zen koan that fucking Donovan made a song out of? You ever heard that?
No.
It goes, first there is a mountain, Then There Is No Mountain, Then There Is. That's a Zen koan, and it's about, realization, which is that, it's the wavelength of growth where, like, you see this thing that you want so badly. For me, man, I can remember fucking, when I first started working at the Comedy Store, riding around with Freddie Soto in the Comedy Store van, and I remember he went to a UPS audition, a UPS commercial audition. This is the first audition I'd ever seen in my life. I was just in from North Carolina. The idea that you could make money doing a TV commercial and get residuals from it, to me, was like hearing about someone turning lead into gold, that you could just still keep getting checks in your mailbox for doing nothing. That was insane to me. And I remember being in this UPS audition with Freddie Soto, watching him sign in and thinking to myself, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to get commercial auditions one day. And I said to him, man, look at you. This is so fucking cool. You get to do commercial auditions. And I meant it. Like, it was the biggest thing to me. It was the most incredible, biggest thing ever that this guy got to do that. Yeah. And then I started getting to do commercial auditions. And it's like, this is fucking sucks. What the fuck is this? This is shit. But I can remember then being the talent coordinator at the Comedy Store. And I can remember that one of the Sklar brothers called, and they had some show on Fox, or they just gotten some show. I don't know what it was. And I said to them, and I meant it, what's it like to have made it, man? It must feel so good to have made it. And he's like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, I haven't made it. This is some dumb show on Fox. This doesn't mean anything. And then you realize, like, oh, there's no point where you get that piece you're talking about. There's no point in any of the parts of the material universe and the success in the material universe where suddenly you get to rest on your laurels and you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is it. If you're basing that piece, if you've made the foolish mistake of thinking that fucking piece is going to come from reaching some certain mountain peak, because the mountain keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And that's why some of what you're saying, when you go to the people with a nice house, some of the most tortured fucking people are the people who've made that awful conclusion that if I get this much money, then I'm gonna relax. Oh yeah, then I'm gonna relax. When I've got this thing, I'm gonna relax. When I got my series on NBC, I'm gonna relax. Never does the relaxation come. Not a fucking moment's rest ever, until they're fucking laying on their deathbed and their body gives in, and then in that moment they get to relax. They get a few moments of peace as their fucking nervous system shuts down. That's when they get the fucking peace. Otherwise, you're on a treadmill. But it can be a fun treadmill. And there's nothing wrong with running after things in the material universe. It's a fucking blast.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm thankful that I live in LA, because when you live in a place like LA, and there, of course there's a million other places around the world, but you really get to see that all the time. Like, you go into people's houses and you're like, wow, this is a pretty cage you've made yourself.
That's
but
damn
you're
right.
still in a fucking cage.
You're still fucked. There's a great, I've heard a great comparison about this that the Hare Krishnas actually make when they talk about this. It's a really beautiful image, and it's kind of fucked up. But they use the image of a golden bird cage and a woman who's got this golden bird cage with a bird inside of it. And the bird's emaciated and fucked up and like starving because the woman's spending all her time polishing the bird cage. She's always polishing that gold and making it shine and sparkle, while inside the fucking parrot is like, its feathers are falling out and it's dying. And it's that's it.
We're back, bitches. Felicia Michaels,
Joey Diaz,
and Duncan motherfucking Trussell. We didn't even do an
shit.
intro. We just went into it fucking heavy duty. When Duncan Trussell's in the house, there's no fucking intros. It's just heavy duty. What's happening, Felicia Michaels?
Oh, geez. Well, you know what? I'm so glad we had that conversation, because I'm going to tell you guys. Today, my brother would have turned 50 years old. My brother died very many years ago. And I, right before you guys came, I had honestly just teared up. I'm being completely honest. And I had put on Facebook as I realized, holy shit. You know, I woke up, made my kids breakfast, nagged at them while I took them to school. I wrote a joke. I went to the bank. I worked in my studio. You know, I goofed around on YouTube before I realized this is my brother's 50th birthday. And it made me like I was going to cry, you know, but then it's like, you know, the saying time heals all wounds. It does, but you know, it can, but you still feel shitty. You know what I mean?
I always feel shitty. I feel shitty in the mornings. That's why when I wake up in the morning, my 2 feet hit, and I swear to God, man, I look to see if Terry's in bed and she's alive. I look over, you just look over, and I always thank it. I don't know who it is. I've been thanking for like the last 8 years. I don't know who. I just thank you, and I touch my head, and and I take a piss, and I rub my balls. Everything is there. How the fuck can this be a bad day?
Yeah.
How the fuck can this be a bad day? Then you go online and, Pedro Borbon died fucking 2 days ago. That guy was a fucking savage baseball player for the Cincinnati Reds when they run the big red machine. He used to keep fucking, they called him like the Dominican voodoo dolly because when they traded him from Cincinnati, he put voodoo on the Reds. Hysterical. Some guy wrote it on my Facebook page. They're like that, and then he took the curse off.
Wow.
Years later, he took the curse.
That was nice of him.
But he ate somebody's hat one time. Like, if you look him up, he got so pissed during a baseball game that he started eating the hat, and he realized it was the opposing, his own team. So he threw that, and he started eating the other guy's hat. IMDb or whatever the
That's
fuck.
That's badass.
Wikipedia, this guy. But it's like, even when I get sad when I hear people die, even if I don't know them. When Amy Winehouse died, I had to turn the fucking computer off.
Yeah.
Because she could have reached tremendous heights.
Yeah.
Tremendous heights. Anybody who dies, even if it's a fucking truck driver,
yeah,
that guy can be composing a harmonica fucking opera at his house by himself and we don't know it.
Yeah.
It just does something. It gives you the reason to say, fuck, I'm going to live today just for that fucking guy.
That's right.
That's how I look at it. I'm like, how fucking lucky are we that
we're still here?
I got to tell you something. You were talking about all this Hinduism, and I was talking about the piece of paper, picking it up in character. You know what movie, and I always think of this line, Felicia Michaels, both of you, it kills me from a movie. It's when the fat guy tells Pacino in The Godfather, he's talking to him on something, and he goes, they should have stopped Hitler in Munich. When I heard that line in 73, I was learning about Germany and shit.
Yeah.
That line always resonates with me.
Yeah.
It really does. They should have stopped Hitler in Munich. If they would have stopped Hitler in Munich, history would have been completely different.
Yep.
Completely different.
Yeah.
So I always think like that in life. I got to pick up that piece of paper because this is how you start it. This
That's
is how you
damn
stop
right.
that cycle, and this is how you start it.
That's right, man. Yeah, you're right. It's a crazy thing when you start getting into it because it's reverse. It always starts off going completely against your instincts because your instincts are usually based in starvation principles because most people didn't have it that easy and they're really fucking hungry, and people have been starving like in North Korea. The people are like 5 feet tall, they're like 5 feet tall and fucked up, and because they've been starving. So we've been starving in a different way, and we're kind of dwarfed in like other ways because we haven't understood this crazy basic fucking principle, which is that if you stop grasping for things, that's when you start receiving them. And that's one of the most impossible, frustrating, fucked up things to learn because we've always been taught if you want something, you gotta suffer. And then we start confusing this pain for success, and then we're one big spiritual muscle cramp. And the moment you start letting go and loosening up, even in the face of whatever the maelstrom is going around you, all of a sudden things get kind of suddenly start becoming beautiful. You start saying these spontaneous thank you prayers. I feel sorry for people who don't say that, who have gotten caught up in the scientific model of the universe and don't have something to thank. Even
higher power.
Anything.
There's got to be something out there.
Sure.
Gotta be something out there.
Or maybe
that
it's
keeps
just
us
you.
Together. Or maybe it's me. People laugh at religions and stuff like that. All religion is hope.
Yeah.
I don't care what they did or what they do. When somebody knocks on your door at 3 a.m, you're scratching your head watching Oprah to find out who fucked this poor white girl. There's 3 black guys there, and who fucked this poor white girl? And you're thinking, what are you going to do with your life? And 3 guys knocking your door with briefcases. That's when you're at your most vulnerable.
Yeah, man.
Who knows what you need in your fucking life as long as you live and get through it.
Yeah.
All the religions are all pretty much, they say to be positive and a good person or whatever. You can't fuck, you got to wear a skirt. But
well, that's weird.
what's that?
You can't fuck, you gotta wear a skirt.
There's always something. There's always a by the way. Jehovah's Witnesses can't stand up to salute the flag.
Right.
Right? When I was in grammar school, those poor kids couldn't fucking stand during the national anthem or some shit. There's always a by the way with those.
But if you look at the core of the thing, like if you look at the core of Christianity and you look at some of the stuff Jesus said, it's intensely psychedelic. Like he said, the kingdom of heaven is here. So if you really like think about what that means, it gets pretty fucking intense, which is this idea that you have to understand, right? Like imagine this. This is a crazy idea, but imagine this. Imagine you're in heaven. In other words, heaven isn't something that happens when you die. Death is just a continuation into deeper levels of paradise. But right now, we're in heaven. And anything in the world around you that you see as bad or fucked up or dismaying or stress causing or tension, that's an illusion. That's just something in your head that you're clinging on to. And then let's imagine, just for the sake of like a funny story, that there's a Satan. Let's imagine that there's an evil force in the universe that isn't embodied or incarnated in a person, right? But this thing's still there. It's an omnipresent force that for whatever reason doesn't like the idea of people enjoying themselves in paradise. But it can't do anything. It can't move shit. It can't pick things up. It can't do anything except get in your head. So what's it going to do? It's going to try to convince you that you're in hell. It's going to try to take all these people wandering through the Garden of Eden in this beautiful paradise where we could all be fucking and having constant orgasms and getting blasted on ecstasy and sharing everything. And it's going to start telling you like, no. This is a dangerous place. Dangerous place. And you can't trust people. You got to be out for yourself. And all of a sudden, you've managed to like turn all these people who could be living in a Garden of Eden, a technological Garden of Eden, into these freaked out, bomb-throwing, angry, fucked up, misogynist cunts who are making women wear beekeeper outfits and flying drones over fucking Afghanistan and annihilating children, when we could all just be like really in some kind of there's plenty for everyone, man. There's plenty for everyone on this fucking planet. Plenty for everyone. Plenty. But because of a mental constructs in people's heads, we've become hierarchical. And the end result is the kind of like confused dimension that we're living in. Did I go too far with that weird?
No. I was just thinking, what's that web page you go to find who your family is?
Ancestry.com?
You gotta go on there. Your uncle was the dude who created the Twilight Zone. I'm telling you right now, it's funny because there's a Twilight Zone episode. Next time you're at home and you see when they do a bunch of them, click on and see, just look for Sebastian Cabot. He played the butler on Family Affair. He's a fat little French dude, chubby little dude, losing his hair. There's an episode of Twilight Zone where a bank robber is running and he goes to jump a fence and the police go, stop, and they shoot him and he wakes up and it's Sebastian Cabot. He goes, come with me, I'm gonna help you. And he takes him to this fucking palace and there's bitches and he gets his own bedroom and they gamble at night. But the cops are looking for him, so he can't leave the house. So he has all these parties, and then fucking people come over and shuffle, and every night he wins. And after 30 days, he goes to Sebastian Cabot. He goes, what type of fucking place is this? I got booze, I got broads, I can't lose. What the fuck, did I die and go to heaven? He goes, no, you're in hell. You're in hell. And he just fucking snaps his fingers, and that's the end of the fucking guy.
Jesus.
It's a great episode. No, those motherfuckers will take you deep late night if you let them. And
well,
they're on every night at 11 o'clock on WE on Channel 20 on DirecTV, so if you have it.
I like thinking about hell too, man. Because like I bet in hell, there's going to be people in hell who've convinced themselves that they're doing great too. I think it works the other way too. There's people who like, it's just, jaundice, you know how jaundice works? So like when you get jaundice, apparently sugary things taste bitter. And bitter things taste sugary. It like reverses your whole ability to experience life. And so like people get this kind of jaundice in this life. Man, I just have like been having some conversations with someone, and suddenly I realized that they have confused success with suffering. Like they think if they're in pain or turmoil or fucked up or struggling or like really miserable, they're doing great. And if they start feeling happy, they think they're failing. I think this is a very common state of mind for people where they start thinking that if they're okay, a brick's about to fall out of the fucking sky and hit them in the head. So they're always seeking to try to compound their misery, and they think that when they're compounding their misery, they're being successful. It's so fucked up. What if life's easy? What if we really are in fucking paradise? What if you at any second could just put down the bags, let go of everything, and all of a sudden the world would brighten up and flowers would rain down on you in the form of crazy synchronicities that propelled you into some place where you are absolutely perfectly stable and successful. But all you had to do is give up this idea that you're meant to suffer here. You're the one making the suffering.
No, always. We control our own fucking thing, dog, like that. 50% of people, they look for shit.
Yeah.
They look for shit. I have a friend of mine that calls me and he'll get mad about a year and a half ago. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Somebody said this to you a year and a half ago or something? They want to be there, though. They want to be there. That's right. They want to be there. You know, I've always looked at gamblers. I always looked at gamblers. When I hung out with gamblers, they always told me about how much they lost.
That's crazy.
You notice that?
Yeah.
No gambler comes into a bar and says, I just won. 1 out of 5 guys that walk in will come in. And the guy that won ain't going to tell you he won because he won. He feels the fucking brick's going to hit him in the fucking head.
That's fucking right. That's right,
So
man.
do you understand me? So now you're around 4 dudes that are just talking about if they had the fucking extra point. That's why I always looked at gambling. One day when I was 20, I looked at gambling. Oh, this is one of those vices that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm giving somebody my money. This is worse than insurance. There's nothing going on here.
Yes.
That's when I decided to become a junkie. Because I said, if I'm going to give somebody money, I might as well look out a window.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I'm saying?
right.
I might as well crawl and look under the carpet.
Right. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Duncan, because you were just saying at the beginning of the podcast how when you went with your friend to a commercial audition, how you were like, this is so great.
Yeah.
And now I was just thinking as you were saying all those really long words, you're totally on the other side of it. Was there an event that propelled you to make that switch? Like, how did you get so interested in all of this, you know?
You know what it is, man? This stuff works the same way that stand-up comedy works. When you see a really fucking funny comic on stage, a really, 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 really funny comic on stage, and you're just learning to do stand-up, you'll grow during that 15-minute set so quickly just by seeing, like, holy shit,
where you could go with it.
Yeah,
this is where it can go. Oh my god. Or like the 5-minute mile. Remember, like, there was a certain amount of time they thought it would take for people to run a mile, and then all of a sudden someone beat that, and then all of a sudden everyone started beating it because they saw someone could do it, and they're like, oh yeah, I could do that. Now I see if one person can do it, all of us can do it. So in that same way, a couple of times in my life I've run into people. One of the times was when I was in India. One of the times was when I got to talk to Ram Dass, his name was Richard Alpert. He was this Harvard professor who got blasted on LSD and went to India and met this a saint named Neem Karoli Baba, who's dead now. But that guy got radically transformed, and I got to talk to Ram Dass and see what this guy was like. And you can't fake what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And there's no way to fake it, man. Like, you can't fake where he's at. It was like all of a sudden you're seeing someone who's really happy. Like, not bullshit happy, not temporarily happy, not happy because he got a big check in the mail, but all those particulates of mental dust flying around in his brain, all the year and a half ago fights, or worrying about the bills, or worrying about going bald, or worrying about getting laid. Somehow all those have sort of just settled to the bottom of his mind, and now he's just this clear, flat, calm surface that's in paradise. He's always at the fucking UPS audition thinking it's awesome, no matter what phenomena is coming into his field. So when I saw that and a couple other people, it kind of made me grow, and it made me realize, oh, that's not bullshit. When people start writing about meditation and the effects it can have on your life and how happy you can get, that's not bullshit. That's not somebody making something up or telling a fairy tale. It's real. In this life, you can, maybe not all the way, but you can pull yourself out of the tar pit of the material universe and poke your head around and see some crazy, beautiful shit. That's how I got into it. So I'm always compelled to think about it, and I'm always compelled to read about it. But I certainly don't practice it all the time, man. I'm fucked up. I do fucked up shit all the time.
You know, it's funny because you're talking about commercial auditions. I shot a movie this week, and
By the way, I just want to say I'm so sorry about all the trucks going by. It's like
That's
annoying,
okay.
right?
What are you doing?
Okay.
You moving?
No, but it's been like
Getting
4
fucking
fucking
towed? You make the
trucks.
payment?
Yeah,
You're
no,
fucking
like
like,
I don't
the
know
house
what's
is gone.
going
What
on.
happened,
I don't know.
Felicia?
You can't feel it.
It's funny that it's amazing how we overlook things in our lives. I fucking do it constantly. You know, this week I'm on a set of a movie again.
Yes.
You know, in the back of my mind, by the time I'm driving to this, I'm like, really, Joey?
Yeah.
You're still doing 2 days on fucking movies?
Yeah.
Really, Joey?
Yeah.
Like, seriously?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
amazing,
like, what
huh?
the fuck? You know, and I'm like, it's gonna suck. I get down there and, you know, I walk in and there's no parking in the lot. The studio, you gotta park on the street for just an hour. That means I gotta come out after costume, wardrobe, and when I walk in, somebody asks me if I want a hamburger and this, and I'm like, I can't fucking believe I'm still doing 2 days on fucking movies, you know? And I get up and I go to rehearse and I see all these young kids, Felicia, 24, 25, handsome, no shirts on, and they're fucking, this is it.
Yes.
This is fucking it for them.
Yeah.
This is it. And they come over and start shaking your hand, and you can feel the energy in their hands and their emotion. And all of a sudden, you're there.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, what the fuck, Joey?
Yeah.
I'm on a movie 2 fucking days.
Yeah.
I got 3 scenes, you know?
That's it.
And all of a sudden, Paul Sorvino's walking by me singing opera with a bottle of Chianti in his hand. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what the
Hell
fuck
yeah.
is wrong with me?
That's it.
What the fuck is wrong with me? I remember getting here and people saying to me, yeah, I got to go to a commercial audition, and me coming all over myself.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need to do to go there? And then getting the call for your first commercial audition, it's at 2:45. You're there at 12:45.
Yes.
You're out there practicing your headshot moves and shit. And you know what I'm saying, Felicia? It's amazing, and we all do it in different areas. You know, how many people, oh yeah, I sold the script. You did what? I can't sell a fucking poem.
Yeah.
I can't sell a fucking line. You know what I'm saying? This guy sold the script and he's like just throwing it away.
Yeah.
You want to grab people. And it's really weird because I do it constantly, and you really do need to embrace it. But I feel like if I embrace it, your ego feels weird. Your ego feels a little weird. So I don't even fucking go there. But you really need to embrace that sometimes. I don't do it enough either.
Well, I mean, when you see kids, or no, even better, my fucking chihuahuas. If I take these 2 little chihuahuas I'm babysitting right now, and I take them into the forest, we went on a hike today, and the moment they hit the woods, those beings are in fucking heaven. They're like smelling everything. They're overjoyed by just being in that moment. They're just there, and it's beautiful for them. Their egos aren't getting fucked up. When you see kids, you know, and you take them to Disneyland or some awesome place they wanted to go, and they're having a blast and they're in a frenzy of joy, their egos aren't fucked up. In the same way, you get to enjoy life. This is what I'm saying, man. I don't believe in Satan, and I don't believe in that thing I was telling you, but it works as a tool to try to deconstruct reality. But when you suddenly think like, man.
You don't believe in Satan? And none of your fucking...
In the traditional sense, I think that there's the idea of the Gestalt.
Hold on. The traditional sense is the dude with the horn and the stick. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe
any of that shit.
I don't believe that.
But do you believe that there is something, a being, something that makes you want to go, fuck that chick you met at the open mic when your wife is sleeping?
Yeah, I think that thing is that's been called the shadow, and they say it's inside people. That's because and also like have you ever heard of the term the collective unconscious, which is something that this guy Carl Jung, who is the disciple of Freud, came up with, which is the idea that it's based on this notion, like, when you get in a room with a group of people, and depending on the group of people, something else comes into the room. If you're with a cool group of people, all of a sudden things lighten up and become awesome and feel great in the room. If you're with a group of fucking assholes, things start feeling heavy and gritty and nasty. A fourth thing is coming to the room, depending on how many people they are. And that's called the Gestalt, is the name that they call that, which is the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So in other words, when you have a group of people, you have, like, for instance, right now, 3 of us are sitting here, but the conglomeration of us together has created a fourth thing. So in that way, there's the entirety of humanity, And then all of humanity, there's like one extra thing outside of that. And that thing outside of that is a reflection of the shadow of humanity, or the reflection of the greatest part of what humanity is, which is a kind of a complex academic way of saying, yes, I believe in the Dark Lord. I just think it's kind of I think it's an emanation of the fear consciousness of our entire species. And that motherfucker quite often, you know, is not whispering to you to go fuck a girl. It's whispering to you to not fuck a girl, to be afraid, don't experience life, curl up your fucking body like a little roly-poly, and don't do anything, and be in a complete state of terror no matter where you're at. And don't try to kiss the girl that you've been wanting to kiss forever. And don't fucking tell the person that you've been wanting to tell to fuck off because you need to say it and it'll get it off your chest. Or don't tell the person that you've been wanting to say you love them because you're too much of a man to say that. Don't be some weepy pussy. I think it just manifests in a bunch of different ways, and it's always ultimately whispering to you to not have a good time, to not accept what's right in front of you as the greatest gift ever. When you fucking consider the fact that we have not found life on any other planet, and the great expanse of space surrounding us, and you realize that all we are, like what we are, is so beyond. We're these fleshy little fucking things in the middle of a vacuum of radiation and exploding fucking stars. It's a miracle that we're having even one moment as an expansion of the universe experiencing itself. How the fuck are we going to be miserable? How are we spending that time miserable? How are we spending this time in any state other than this is insanely beautiful and incredible? You know, how is that? How do we fall into those pits? Mental pits. Why?
I want to believe in the Dark Lord too.
Well, it's not hard.
Trust me, you've met the Dark Lord. Let me tell you something, Duncan. Your first CD's got to be called Harvard Suck My Dick. Because you are a brilliant fucking young guy.
Shit.
Since I first met you, I've always been.
Thank you, Joey.
Listen, I went to school in Boulder, and I hid out in Boulder. And I love an intelligent person. And you love an intelligent person when you feel, I've always felt stupid, you know. And what's intelligence? What is intelligence? And there's some people that fake the funk. You never fake the fucking funk.
Thank you, Joey.
I always leave a conversation with you feeling like, wow, I gotta fucking go do something.
I have to go and have a glass of wine and think about it. It was like I just watched Schindler's List or something. You know what I mean? Like I have to really think about what you're saying.
Go fucking dive in there, man. Fucking light it up.
Shit.
I had this fat ball in my neck. Duncan tells the other side to that story. I had this fat ball in my neck at the time the breath strips were coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And I get the surgery done on my neck, and I'm smoking dope. I'm doing antidepressants. I'm doing blow, the whole thing. But I wanted to kill this kid, so he kept calling me saying, how's your recovery on your neck? I want to bring you this book. So I was going to give him the breath strips, you know. Uh-huh. And I gave him the breath strips, and I go home, and I'm fucking hammered. And I'm thinking about how, out of all the things to give me, he brings me a book. This is how smart this motherfucker is. Like, he's like the first guy to ever give me like a nice book. I looked at it. What the book you gave me?
It was some kind of...
oh, my God. It was... and I can't remember the fucking name, but I just seen it. I still have it at the house. It's part of the collection.
The Gunslinger.
The Gunslinger. But you gave me one about a fucking... Oh, my God. And I had it just eaten like a Vicodin. Uh-huh. Plus the antidepressant, plus 2 bumps, plus 3 pages of his fucking book. I thought my mind was going to explode.
I don't know what it was, Joey. It was either a spiritual book or it was a fucking...
No, it wasn't a spiritual
Then it was The Gunslinger by Stephen King, the Dark Tower series.
Oh.
Greatest book ever, because you remind me of a gunslinger, Joey.
Oh.
That's why I gave it to you, because it's about the fucking gunslinger is this archetypical hero. It's kind of like the Stephen King's kind of embodied like the samurai, the Clint Eastwood fucking badass gunslinger on this quest, wandering through time and space to try to get to this place called the Dark Tower, which is like the nexus of all points in the multiverse. And it's like he's journeying to get there. He barely even explains why, but it's just this kind of like beautiful yet tragic quest to get to this point. And it's the perfect metaphor for us. And you've always reminded me of this kind of like wandering samurai. This like, because you've got this, yeah, totally, dude. You've always, that's why I brought you that book, because you remind me of that, man. Yeah. It's really good. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's true. I see that.
Yeah.
Like the wandering samurai?
Yeah, fuck
just
yeah.
That you're old school like that. You're like, to me, like a gunslinger, like a cowboy comes into town and is like,
That's right.
True.
That's
true.
a very nice compliment.
That's fucking right, man.
It's weird because I really always enjoyed traveling.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up on Kung Fu. And he walked to different villages. Motherfucker walked.
Yeah.
And then just went to a town, did whatever. He didn't fuck nobody.
Yeah.
He taught somebody a way of peace.
Yeah.
He smacked a few people.
Yeah.
And he left.
That's it.
How different is that than the traditional guy that comes, fucks you, robs your bank? It was kind of weird. So that's a nice little compliment.
The term for that in Buddhism is called bodhisattva. Have you ever heard that term before?
Never.
So that's the idea that, like, it's a really cool idea. So the idea is that there's this state of consciousness that you can attain in this lifetime called nirvana. And it's like paradise. It's like being on the greatest ecstasy permanently, and it never goes away. And you can be in this state of consciousness. You can ascend. You can escape the cycle of birth and death. So a bodhisattva is compared to somebody who's gotten to the edge of that, and rather than permanently enter into that state, has decided, no, you know what? I'm going to wait to do this until all sentient beings in the universe have attained this state, and then I'll attain the state. Because how am I going to be in this place of absolute pure paradise when I know that other people are freaked out and having bad trips all over the universe? They compare it to somebody who's been walking in the desert, dying of thirst, and comes to an oasis and climbs up the wall of the oasis and looks in and sees this beautiful fig trees and cool springs to drink from and beautiful women. And for a moment thinks, I'm going to go in there, and then remembers, wait, there's that guy I passed out in the fucking desert. How am I going to enjoy this oasis when I know out there this guy is lost? And so you go back out in the desert, find the guy, bring him to the oasis, and then head back out to find the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. It's really fucking cool, man. That's a form of samurai. That's a form of gunslinger. It's really a cool way to live when you start thinking about that, when you make that your intention. Even if you haven't quite found the oasis yourself, if you even slightly believe it could be real, if you even slightly believe there could be a way to open up that fucking third eye and have all the dark spider webs and cobwebs of the material universe fall away, and you really believe that, and you're surrounded by people who've never even heard that story before, how the fuck are you not going to try to tell them that story too? That makes you the most selfish piece of shit ever. It makes you an asshole. If you really believe that, you've got to, do what you can. I love this samurai fucking archetype, man. I love it. Wandering from village to village, beating the shit out of vampires, and fucking helping some kid. It's so cool.
I'm telling you, I'm freaking out.
Oh, I know. I'm all like, what are we
Theater,
really
bro.
talking about now?
This is a one-man show. This is amazing. What else, Felicia Michaels? What do you got for us? What else you got for me, Felicia?
Well,
Michaels?
I'm going on a train trip on Saturday.
A train trip.
Yeah, have you ever been on the train, Duncan?
Yes.
What's the longest train trip you've ever taken?
To San Diego. No. No, I took a fucking train trip. Holy shit. I took a train trip through India from New Delhi to Dharamsala, where the Dalai Lama lives, up this fucking, on these train tracks with my friend who had bought a tube of fucking hash for $5. So he had this tube of Indian hash in his fucking sock. And like, man, we would smoke that fucking hash and sit, because they don't, in India, there's nobody like on an airplane telling you, please sit down, there's turbulence. There's no one back there. You can fucking hang off the side of the train if you want. People climb on the top of the train, and you just like kick your feet out of the side of the train and just go through these fields in India with old crumbling fucking temples. You're smoking hash, staring out at fucking the craziest fucking shit. I was sitting there baked, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, what am I sitting in? I must have spilled my water. And then I realized I'm sitting right next to the bathroom, and I'm just sitting in third world Indian piss all over my fucking pants. So it wasn't all that great. But it was pretty awesome.
The coolest train trip I was ever on was in Vietnam, and it was from Hanoi up to where Vietnam ends with China, and you go up into the, I think it might be Sapa or something like that, and you take this train, and there were these Vietnamese soldiers on there, and it was right when the iPods first came out, and so I had one, and I was playing it for all my friends because my ex was really into music, and he came over and he couldn't believe it, and he kept like looking it over and over, and they had this beer car, and everyone was in there so fucking drunk. I mean, it was crazy. Like, people were wearing their hats, like soldiers' hats, posing with their guns. It was so
that
fucking
sounds
crazy.
So fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'd be petrified, you know. I guess.
Yeah, it is spooky, but it's because those fucking trains out there, they run into each other sometimes. Man. They are trains. But where are you going on your
I'm
train?
going to go to Wichita, so.
Whoa, that's a long trip.
That's a lot. You know what? I want my kids to feel how really long.
You taking the kids with you?
I'm taking the kids with me.
Oh, you're on the train?
On the train.
Yeah, all right. Call me from fucking Colorado. You're going to bail.
No.
You're gonna see. It's eyewitness news. Felicia with a suitcase going down the hill.
Really?
And the two boys jumping right behind.
You have a sleeper car?
We don't have a sleeper car.
So you're staying at hotels?
No, it's a 30-hour trip. So you go like 6 o'clock at night, and you get there the next night at like 2 in the morning. So like
you're just gonna sleep in the seats?
Yeah, it's just simple.
Well, I love train trips, man. They're fucking blast.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I just want them to feel how big our country is. Yes, I do want a cookie.
Do you want a cookie or something, Felicia? Because you're going to fucking need everything you get your hands on. You know what I'm saying? 30 hours.
I don't say much, but I will say that.
You know what? I took a train from Miami to Myrtle Beach one time. I caught a fallout and I was stuck. And I got to tell you, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. And
for a comedian, like somebody who's in their head, even somebody who's on a computer, it goes. And that's a good time to go because you're basically going to bed.
Yeah.
You're going to be there at 6. Oh, look at this. Look at the mountain. Boom. You're in bed. It's hard to sleep. You know, you do catch 2 hours here, but you know what type of sleep you get. It's like Twilight Zone sleep. You know? But at the end, it's got to be fucking dynamite if you do it with the right people. I heard that trip to San Diego's a blast.
It's so cool.
I heard that's a blast. You could smoke on the train outside, and I heard it's a fucking blast.
It's beautiful.
The train from like, you ever have to do a gig in like Syracuse or one of those places,
no, I
like
was thinking,
Albany.
When you live on the East
Grand
Coast,
Central.
you take trains all
Oh my
over.
God!
It's pretty
you have
cool.
a gig and you're like, oh my God, I'm freaking out, and you'll call somebody in New York and go, oh my God, I just got an offer to play this place, and they're like, what? That's Grand Central at 2:31. You'll be there by 4:15. Plus, they got a booze car on there. Yeah. Everybody's fucked up.
Yes.
Those trains aren't bad, I guess. I'm just scared of spending 2 or 3 nights. What's the longest you've been on a Greyhound for a comedy gig?
When I was a kid, you know what? It's so funny. I was thinking the other day how I don't let my kids go out the front yard. When I was like 12, I was on a Greyhound from Colorado Springs, Colorado to Los Angeles. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Oof.
You know what I mean? That is I was gambling in Vegas. You know what I mean?
Greyhounds are fucked.
It was like, and now we don't let our kids do anything.
We should get on a Greyhound and tape it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And do acid and mushrooms and put a disguise on. All 3 of us get a fucking broad and just go on there and fuck around and see what's going on the train and tape it on a bus, a Greyhound bus. Yeah. I remember one time I went to New York and I was working Hyenas or something, and they started on Wednesday, and I'm like, should I really spend the $300 for a plane ticket? And I call. Greyhound was like $18 to Dallas. I was like 30 hours. I said, fuck it, let me get on there. And it wasn't that bad. One time I got my dick sucked.
Really?
From Buffalo to Syracuse. Oh, yeah.
I've always felt like there's the potential.
Yeah. One time I met a fucking stone cold freak.
How far is Buffalo from Syracuse?
2.5 hours, 2 hours, one of those things.
Wow, really?
And that's when I was on a bus. I would land in Newark, and I would go to Toronto. That's before 9/11 for comedy, and I would go all the way down. Buffalo, Yoder, Syracuse, Wise Guys.
Wait, let's get back to you getting your dick sucked.
Yeah, was it someone you knew? Did you go on the train?
No, I got on the bus.
Wow.
We got on the bus, and she was an exotic dancer. But in New York State, you have to get registered. So she would, and you have to go to the health department and shit.
Yeah.
Really?
So she was beating the health department. She had some violation. So she was going from Buffalo to Syracuse or Buffalo to Albany to dance before the health card or something like that. She had gotten in trouble.
You don't want somebody with an expired health card sucking your dick on a Greyhound.
Dog, it's a blowjob. How bad could it be? She was really fucking cute, but she told me that afterward. They never tell you that before. She told me that afterward to make the last 30 minutes of my drive.
So funny. I was just looking at Joy with horror in my
this chick. I get on this bus and she's cooler than fuck. We start, and I didn't talk to her. Usually I get on those things and I just shut my fucking mouth because I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
She was kind of good looking. And she sat over. She goes, "Where you from?" We started talking. One thing led to another. She was talking. Then it stopped. And when it stopped, we went to get high.
Yes.
And that's when she was really flirty. And I'm like, whoa, this egg wants salt. And then when we got back, she took the window seat. She took my seat, and I sat in the thing. And it was kind of dark. It was dark out. And we started fucking around, swapping, spitting.
Wow.
She sucked my tube, and then I was gonna take her to the hotel with me where they put the comic up. And I thought about it long and hard. I'm like, I don't want no chick with a fucking health department violation in my fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Things a girl will do for the window seat.
That's that's harboring a fucking fugitive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget that I got that. I was like, wow.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. You got to watch everything on those fucking buses, though. So.
Yes. Apparently. How do you even like go afoul of the health department as an exotic dancer? That is
from
some
those
shit.
cities in New York, you have to be registered.
Yeah.
Something is a kink. You just can't show up at a club and go, "I'm here to dance."
It means that you got something.
Yeah.
And she tested for something. She
Something
probably
happened.
she probably had a cold or something.
So you got a scratch or something like that. You got a doctor put the cream on and shit.
A scratch.
I remember when I was about 18, I
Or
had
a blister.
call from a buddy of mine. He's like, "Dog,
clusters of
he's
blisters.
like, dog, you gotta
that are seeping.
You gotta take a ride with me." Right, a buddy of mine called me when I was about 18, maybe even younger, 17. He calls me, he goes, "You gotta take a ride with me." And in the car, he's like, "Listen, I fucked my girlfriend's, my sister's buddy, and she gave me something." And I remember going, and I'm like, "So what do you want me to do?" He's like, "Just come with me, dog. Just, I don't know what to do. Just come with me, talk for me, whatever you could do." I'll never forget walking in there and looking at all the girls in there with fucked up, like they were sitting there with sores. And this is way before the HIV. This was way before HIV. This is 1981. I mean, HIV was out there, but it wasn't public yet.
Yes.
This is when clap was the flavor of the month.
Yeah.
Shit came out of your pee or crabs. I got crabs. I never got that.
I got crabs.
I got crabs.
I got
did?
crabs from fucking a McDonald's cashier.
See, well, you fucked the chick at McDonald's. That's a fantasy. So what? I got my dick sucked on a bus. you fucked a McDonald's employee with benefits and shit.
Was it like you went and got a burger and you just said, hey?
No. I knew her before because we were all like hanging out and like taking acid together. She just happened to work at McDonald's. But I remember I went in there, she gave me like 2 free cheeseburgers, and then I got a
You must have been sweet.
Yeah, I was a sweetie in the day. And I remember we got a fucking hotel room, and at the time I didn't know anything. So I remember she asked, "Do you have a razor?" And I remember being like, well, why? And she's kind of like this weird goth chick. We'd like ride around and listen to Coil, which is like dark goth techno on acid. And like, she was just a creepy girl. Cute though. And she's like, "Do you have a razor?" I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Because I want to cut myself." And I'm like, "No, I don't have a fucking razor. I don't want you to cut yourself. I want to fuck." And then, but really what she wanted to do was shave her pussy, I guess, because she thought she could shave the crabs out of her pussy. But So then, the way you're looking at me, please, is hilarious.
I love it.
So then we ended up fucking. I thank God I wore a condom, but I remember like it was just this dark goth sex. Goth sex is bad sex, man, because she's, everything's bad. She already wanted to cut herself. She really wants to shave her crabs, and then she's like, "Do you want to be inside of me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so then we're fucking, and then like that's that, Then like I guess it was a week later, it takes time for them to grow, and then my fucking bush started itching, and then like then it was just it's horrifying. You've had it, you know what it's like. You've got these beings living in the forest of your fucking pubes. They're stretched out. They stretch out. They like
with their
stretch
collective conscience.
Yeah, they're like the Borg. They're pube Borgs, and they stretch their fucking. They stretch out. They like hug. They hug right above your cock, and they're just like, just slurping at the fucking blood. Just slurping the blood. You can peel them off. You could peel them off, man. So I had to get the poison, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
Then I had to shave my fucking pussy. And finally I got rid of him, but it was humiliating.
I would sleep.
Put poison on your vagina.
At my buddy's house when I would be in Jersey. Like if I was fucked up and I was in that area, I would just pop in and sleep. And one night I got fucked up in that area, and I went. I seen this girl early in the night. And I asked around, where does this girl live? And they said she lives in Lou Donato's house. She's a house sitter or whatever, a housekeeper.
Yeah.
So I went there like at 4 a.m, knocked on the door, and Lou came out. What's going on? I want to talk to her. And then we left. And I slept with her. And she went back to the thing, and I never even thought about it. And a week later, I went to my buddy's house, and I'm talking to him. And I'm like, why am I so itchy? Felicia's a true story. I'm like, what the fuck? And also I'm like, what's up, dog? He's like, man, I'm pissed off. I go, why? What happened? He goes, I fucked Lori last week, and now I got crabs. That was the girl I fucked. So now I knew I was itchy.
Yeah.
You follow me? So I'm sitting there going, no wonder I'm fucking itchy. This bitch, I couldn't say nothing. We were friends. I didn't want to know that we both fucked the same broad. So I left him. Like I just went on a coke tear for like 2 months. I didn't know if I had him or not. And then I said, I moved, and my buddy goes, listen, the apartment won't be ready till the 15th. You could stay up here in the attic. They have a nice room up there, my friends. I said, all right, fine. Felicia, one day I went in there. It was like a fucking a fish tank. Like I was in the hallway doing something. I looked in that room, and I could just see them. They had multiplied. I remember pulling my pants down, and they were everywhere. They'd be jumping. You could see them.
Like a little crab
in
circus?
Flight. It was fucking like Ringing Brothers and Barnum and Crab Circus. They were fucking jumping. Wow. I mean, I had to go to the pharmacy, cut my hair, get the lotion, shave everything, my fucking ass. I had to scrub.
You got to wash your clothes. You have to wash all your clothes.
I had to buy new clothes. I just bought new clothes.
But you know what, man? Back in the day, in the dark ages, that was normal. Everyone had crabs. Everyone had fleas.
It's like a Medal of Honor.
It was a medal. When you wanted to fuck, you would have to scrape fleas out of your woman's pussy just to get your dick in there. Because it was just swarming with crabs and fleas. That was normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
We are hitting all subject matters today.
Yeah,
that's why they have those collars. Those are motherfuckers that invented the flea collar. Then they
Little
said,
click collar.
The women get pissed off. Give it to the dogs.
Put a little flea collar around your clit.
No, around your neck, it kills everything, like a fucking Zoom or something like that.
You would, back in the dark ages, I just read this, fleas and lice were such a problem that kings would have their clothes placed above the sewer shafts of the castle because the ammonia would rise up out of the sewer and kill the fleas on your clothes. So you were washing your clothes in shit fumes. That's how filthy people were back then. You washed your clothes in shit fumes.
When do you find time to read this shit?
I know.
When the fuck do you find this time?
Reddit.com. Best website on the ever.
Really?
It's all from this website. That's sad. 95% of what I know comes from Reddit.com.
Now we know the secret.
Yeah, that's the secret. Just go to Reddit. You'll see. It's got all this crazy shit on it, man. It's like stupid shit, like pictures of people's cats. And then it's like deep government conspiracy shit. And then it's crazy shit like the video. You know the guy who taxidermied his cat and turned it into a helicopter? Did you see that?
I saw that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that. It's just the conglomerate, an aggregation of all the weird shit people are looking at on the internet all lined up on one page. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'm going to go look at that.
I mean, you got some deep fucking shit in your head. Deep, dark too. You're a dark fucker.
Yeah,
I
mean,
nothing wrong with that.
I like it. I have the tendency. Everyone's got dark.
Everybody has dark.
Places.
Everybody in their fucking mind. It's amazing. It's amazing when they knock on your fucking door constantly.
Is it hard for you to find, like, when you're dating women that like that? And I mean that because for me, like, it's hard for me to find sometimes guys that can talk about a big variety of things. I don't talk about what you talk about. But, I mean, is it hard to be with someone who doesn't enjoy that or does enjoy that?
I'm a recluse, man.
Really?
I'm sure it would be hard. I just stay in my house. Unless, like, a girl came wandering into my house, I'm not going to start dating. I don't go out that much. And when I do, I don't. But, yeah, I mean, it's, you know what, man? It's not that. I think everybody kind of has these thoughts, thinks like this, but they just don't know that they can talk about it or they can, like, give a voice to it. That's all.
When Duncan slings dick in a major league way. I've known him for years. He's a little dirty little freak. That's why I like him even more, because he's very honest. He's a dirty little freak.
Yeah.
You mean like dirty in the sense like I do perverted shit when I have a girlfriend?
Oh, you love that. You explore. You don't mind, putting a ball in a woman's mouth.
Absolutely not. I don't mind that.
You know what I'm saying? I've never even dreamed of putting a ball.
A ball gag?
I'll put my fucking balls in their mouth, but I won't put one of those ball gags in their mouth. I don't have the heart to do something like that to a woman.
It's fantastic.
Have you ever had a ball gag in your mouth?
No.
Yes, you have.
I have not. I have been chained to a bed by my left leg before, though.
That's good. Yeah.
But I didn't like it. I'd be like, get this fucking chain off.
Look, here's the thing. If you're going to fuck, why not? I mean, you're already engaged in one of the most absurd activities there is on the planet. If you think about how innately absurd the thing is. You're smashing a fucking tentacle in between your legs into a self-lubricating hole in between another person's legs. You're making weird fucking noises. You don't even know where they're coming from. You've been dying to do this. That's an absurd act already. So if you're going to be engaged in an absurd act like that, why not take it to the next level? Why not put on a fucking stork's mask or get a handcuffs and chain them to a chair and put a ball gag in their mouth and whip them with a belt? If that's what they're into. Some people are into that. Some people like it. Some people don't. It's not like everyone I'm with, I like chain them up.
But it's pretty funny here's what
from
Felicia
time to time.
Felicia, he picks women. Women attract to Duncan to the similar. When you see Duncan with a woman, you're like, I get it or I don't get it. Some people you see with a woman, you're like, I don't get it. With Duncan, I get it or I don't get it. I don't know what he does to them. He hypnotizes them. I sit here hypnotized. He takes them home and starts talking about the Dalai Lama and Hindus and trains. I'll suck his dick.
And then there's a ball gag in your mouth.
This motherfucker's so interesting, I might as well suck his dick and get a lesson while I'm here. I'll give back that Britannic encyclopedia. I'll come over. If I was a girl, I'd suck his dick once a week just to get like a 2-hour history lesson. No, you have to take me out to dinner. Just get nachos and salsa. I'll suck your dick twice. If I was a dumb broad, that's what I would do.
The Duncan Trussell extension course.
But it's look at he gets all red because he knows what I'm talking about. It's weird. I like cocaine. I like a pill from time to time. I never met speed people.
Right.
Nobody's ever come up to me and said, hey, you want to go smoke some crack or you want to go do some bath salts?
Yeah.
When you do heroin, people come up to you. You'll meet people that do heroin.
Yes.
It's the weirdest fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's your state of mind.
Right.
I look at a woman, I know if she's a professional dick sucker or not. And I could tell after we talk if we're compatible because she's just looking for the freak, whatever the fuck.
Right.
You could always tell. I mean, they say opposites attract, but you do meet filthy animals like yourself from time to time.
Yes.
Like kind of the same shit you like, and then you just mold into each other, and then they leave you because they fucked the landlord or something. It's all over. You're back to scratch.
It's true.
But, you attract people who like the same shit as you.
Yeah.
I could look at Felicia, she's a beautiful blonde girl, but I know Felicia's a savage.
I know. I was thinking when you were talking like that, I'm like, I wonder if Joey thinks I'm a professional dick sucker. You know what I mean?
Not a professional dick sucker, but like when I see a quiet woman, and if it could be one thing about what she's wearing, even if she's quiet, I know she's a fucking zookeeper. I know this bitch will stick her tongue up your ass and take you around the world. No matter, she could be the nicest mom, 3 kids. You could tell just by one little thing. Like when you wear those pointy fucking shoes with that skirt with your white legs, I could tell you're a sexy fucking savage. You know what I'm saying?
But isn't it weird?
TikTok, mom.
When people
okay.
TikTok, mom.
When people have off-limit stuff in sex, that is kind of fucking weird, though. It's like, really? Like, this is off-limits? This one little thing, whatever the thing is, like, that's always been strange to me when people have some zone or sector.
Well, if a chick strap one on, would you take it in the ass?
Okay.
Okay, you
So
follow
there,
me?
yeah.
Checkmate.
So why is it so different otherwise?
There's some
if you're a
things
girl,
that-
why is that a judgment then?
I have never met a woman that's crazy except one. And it blew my mind. Like, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't sleep for days.
Did what?
I'm too uptight about that type of shit. Like, I'm really uptight about that. Like
About what? I didn't hear you.
Like the crazy sex shit. I'm
Yeah.
really uptight about that stuff. Like, I can't, when people have threesomes, I've never dreamed of that shit.
I've never done that.
People looking at
You've
your
never
dick.
had a threesome?
No, unfortunately, no.
I had one in Miami.
Oh, I
but-
wish people could see the look on your face. Like, oh,
I had one
okay.
in Miami, but I'm
Sad.
talking about when, like, there's two guys and one chick or something. That's kind of weird for me.
No, that's no good.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Yeah, there should be in the fridge.
That's what scares the hell out of me.
Wow, that's very interesting.
I almost had a three-way.
Really?
Yeah, I was on a hit of acid. Went to a, I went to a S&M club on a hit of acid and was sitting in between this girl from, this like really, really heavy girl and this other girl who was cute, who was from New Zealand. And we all, like, there's this guy chained to a rack getting his back whipped. Rivulets of blood flowing down his back.
This was a show?
Yeah, it was a show.
What kind of show was
It was
this?
an S&M club.
Yeah.
So, like, I was sitting in between these two girls, and we all started making out.
Really?
Yeah, but one of them was really big. Like, this is not something you would, like, I would normally do. But I was on acid, and guys getting whipped. So it's like, when in Rome, why not? Let's see where this leads.
Wow.
And I can remember we're, like, making out. This guy's getting fucking whipped, like, not, like, Jesus whipped. Like, the Passion of the Christ whipped, like, not bullshit whipped.
Right.
Like, blood coming down. And I'm making out with these girls, and a bouncer comes up. It's like, you guys need to calm down a little bit.
Are you?
It's like, are you fucking serious, man? You got a dude up there. It's goddamn Ben-Hur up there getting lashed.
Right,
and,
right.
like, we can't have a simple, like, kiss. But, yeah, it's very
That's
odd.
funny. That's never been my thing. I was in a relationship once where a guy was really into that, the guy that chained me up to the bed and stuff. But after a while, because the problem with that is that to keep that interesting and going, it always has to escalate.
Right.
And so you get to a point when you're like, dude, you can't just always be snatching the hair off my head
that's
and
bad.
leaving bruises for my
No,
children.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
For me,
So-
it sounds like I'm do that all the time. I don't. I don't do that all the time. But from time to time, it does happen. I'll do anything. I'll do just about anything. I'm not gonna let a girl fuck me in the ass though. But almost anything up to that, I'll do. Like, I don't have any. It's all experimental. It's like, why not? Let's just see what happens. It's stupid. It's weird. Whatever the thing is, generally ridiculous, but. Why not? I mean,
Is there any other species that puts a ball gag in their mouth? You know what I mean?
No, not that I know. That'd be awesome if there were, though. I wish there were S&M monkeys. That would be hilarious. Go into a clearing in the fucking... That would be hilarious to see monkeys chaining themselves up and whipping each other.
I used to, in my open mic days, I used to be a doorman at an S&M club, S&M night, on Wednesday nights at Seattle, and I had never seen anything like that in my life, guys. I would leave there and take 2 showers. Like, it was just amazing.
It's crazy.
It was amazing.
It's a crazy thing.
And the crazy thing, I have to say this, and not in a bad way, not one of the women that were in there getting abused were good looking by any means. It was the weirdest thing. And the guys were good looking, but the women were, ugh.
Well, the people who really do it as a lifestyle, man, they don't... like, when I do it or have done it, I haven't done it in a while, a long time, years, in fact. It was a relationship, a couple relationships back. But when I have done it, it's just I want to come. Like, I'm interested in an orgasm in the thing. Like, that, like, it's very traditional. That is kind of vanilla if you're looking to come. That's considered normal to some of these people because they're not looking to have an orgasm. Like, some of these people, they're not in it for like this, that kind of, that's just maybe a part of it, but there's a whole other side to it where they're into, like, it's a lifestyle. Like, people live a life of, there's people who have slaves right now, for real, like slaves. Like, there's people who keep slaves at their house who, like, do everything for them and serve them and, like, It's real. That shit happens for real. It's a lifestyle.
And they suck their dick when they want to. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, exactly. They like. There's guys who have slit women who are their slaves.
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing if you're a slave to someone. I think it sucks if then you got to go to your day job. You know what I mean?
No, you don't have a day job. You don't leave the house.
You don't have a day job.
No, some of them do though. Some of them are slaves, and then they got to go to work.
But, yeah, but let me tell you, up in those fucking hills, man. Up in those hills and those mansions up in the fucking hills. There's some weird shit going on.
Really?
A lot. Oh, hell yeah. A lot of weird shit's going on, man. Watch any David Lynch movie. That guy's not getting that from nowhere. There's some creepy shit that goes on around here. Creepy shit. And also in like the higher levels of government and stuff, man. When people get like tons and tons and tons and tons of money and have had access to every form of sense gratification, they start doing some bizarre shit, from what I've heard.
Sure.
I don't understand that whole lifestyle, like just getting crazy like that. I never understood. I'm too uptight. I'm wound too tight. I've never even like, wow.
I could never go to an orgy.
Really?
No way. Not in a million years. I could never do that. I have too much body image problems. So there's no way that I could like
walk around slinging dick.
No way, man. I feel like I have asymmetrical love handles and a hairy back. There's no way I'm gonna enjoy myself at a fucking orgy.
Even if it was dark with just a little bit of candlelight.
Even then, it would still feel weird. I was way back in the day. I was at this thing that almost turned into an orgy. It was gonna be an orgy. I was on mushrooms and just starting to trip. And I went in there, and this hippie guy came and like put oil on my temples. I didn't ask him to. He just came up and was like, here, brother. Put oil on my temples, and they're watching this Fritz the cat. The orgy scene starts happening in that cartoon, Fritz the cat. And everyone's on mushrooms. Then everyone starts like touching each other, and they're starting to rub each other's back. And you feel this thing coming, like, oh, they're about to start fucking. And I split. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this. There's no way that I can do that. And I can't. I just couldn't do that. Orgies have never appealed to me. A three-way seems like it'd be fun. Yeah. But I think I would come in like 8 seconds. So in that way, it feels like it'd be embarrassing.
No, but it's good. I'm a preemie too. But if you're an orgy and you come, it's the first time. My blood pressure, you got an excuse. I'll call you next week. I'll knock your socks off. But you're lying to the bitch. That's why I love all those. I loved all that comedy store pussy, as I used to call it. You come down to pee, you bump into a freak, you do a bump. Ha ha ha, I can't. My boyfriend's in the other room. They swallow the sword of life and they go right back to life as it is, and you go home drained. You're like, what the fuck happened? You never have to see those people again. You know, if they call you back, that's when I'm a failure.
Right.
When I got over there and give dick the second time, you can't. That blood pressure story don't work all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
They start realizing you don't have high blood pressure. You're a fucking mook. Duncan Trussell here today in the house. What do you got going on, Felicia, next week? What's happening? So you're leaving me for a week. I won't see you.
You're not going to see me, but...
A train ride to fucking...
Kansas. What do you got shaking this coming up week?
I'm going to San Jose, then I'm home all next week.
Oh, you are?
Home. Quiet week, very quiet. I'm going to take some time off, get the jokes ready. Let's get this fucking party going for the summer. You know what I'm saying?
If you've liked what you've heard today on Beauty and the Beast, do us a big favor. Go to iTunes and please leave a little note in the comment section. That helps drive our numbers up so other people can hear us. And if you're thinking about buying anything off Amazon, I'm trying to be real professional, Duncan Trussell. Go to our website, and there's an Amazon little placard, I guess I'm going to say. Click on that. That'll take you right over to Amazon. If you would also like to get in touch with Joey or see any of Joey's dates coming up, Joey has a new website at joeycocodiaz.net. It's quite spiffy. Please do that. Anything else, Joey?
I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors. You want to give any sponsors a shout out, Duncan?
My sponsors?
Yeah, why not?
Anybody you're here. Let's spread the love, whatever you want to do.
Just go to my website, DuncanTrussell.com. All the sponsorship stuff's there. All my dates are there. Check that out.
That's it. You're talking about Buddha, now you're just like a fucking
What? Buy my t-shirts. Buy my t-shirts at DuncanTrussell.com. We've got all these brand new t-shirts that are getting printed in Thailand.
Maxwell.
They're fucking awesome.
Mike Maxwell
shirts,
one of
badass.
A Death Squad
really
artist, good kid.
Yeah, he's great. Mike Maxwell
He's
did
a great
our
guy,
logo.
by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really
So
is. He really
cool.
is. He really is.
So yeah, that's it. Go to my website. I'm going on tour with Neil Hamburger next week too.
Where you going?
Where you going?
All over the East Coast. And
Any
What places
place
you
in
going?
particular?
we're going to be in New York, I think at the Knitting Factory in New York. We're going to be in Rhode Island. We're going to be in Philadelphia. There's a bunch of dates. We're driving all over the place. And then after that, I'm going to be at the Comedy Castle in Detroit.
Oh, shit.
Oh, nice,
And
nice.
Where's that? Not Ann Arbor, not Dearborn, but that's, what's his name? That's like a nice high-end place.
I
Yeah,
can't
that's a nice
fucking wait,
place,
man.
yeah.
I'm really excited about it. All that shit's on my
Mark
website.
Ridley's Comedy
Yes.
Mark
Castle
Yeah.
Ridley's Comedy Castle.
in something, Michigan. Real nice, close to Detroit.
yeah.
Nice little ritzy suburb of Detroit.
Can't wait.
Yeah, that
Good
would be
for
great
you.
for
That's a
you.
good little
Blast.
fucking
Enjoy
club.
that.
I will be at Nietzsche's in Buffalo June 21st, and I'll be at Governor's Motherfucking Comedy Club in Long Island, a.k.a. Strong Island, Levittown. So I'll see you on the 22nd and 23rd. That's all I got.